Have you ever wondered why the entire Formula One paddock is talking about Oscar Piastri after the Barcelona tests? He wasn't the fastest, but he left an impression that is shaking McLaren and the rest of the field. What exactly did he do? Stay, because what's coming may change how you see the new MCL40 and Piastri himself. It is here that Oscar Piastri burst in with a quiet but deeply impactful performance. He didn't do it through a qualifying lap, nor with a brilliant stint on the clock. He did it in a different way. Piastri made his mark because, while many teams were still struggling with the basic setup of their new cars, he was already decoding the MCL40 from the inside. Every lap of his was a kind of technical analysis, a combination of sensitivity, adaptation, and reading that very few young drivers are capable of executing at this level. This was no simple day of testing. It was his first real test against the new technical concept of Formula One. The car that McLaren took to Montmello is not a conservative evolution of the successful MCL39 of 2024. It is a conceptual leap that responds to the new energy distribution rules, the radical aerodynamic redesign, and an efficiency philosophy that seeks to optimize the balance between downforce and top speed. In other words, it is a completely different car with an unpredictable character. And in that unknown terrain, the figure of Oscar Piastri became key. From the first stint, it was clear that the Australian did not need 100 laps to understand the general behavior of the car. In just a few outings, it was already reporting detailed feedback on fast cornering behavior, compound activation, and axle balance distribution. While other drivers offered vague answers or focused their comments on the general grip, Piastri went further. He talked about sensations in the weight transfer phase, the progressiveness of the differential, and micro-transitions in braking. And this is no coincidence. The new regulations require a deeper understanding of the car from the first minute. The balance between the internal combustion engine and the electric unit, now in a 50-50 ratio, has radically changed the way cars accelerate, recover energy, and react to driver inputs. All of this, coupled with widespread downforce reduction, creates a scenario in which fine control, feel, and adaptability are more important than ever. Piastri, in this context, not only showed control of the car, showed understanding of the car. Its clean driving allowed the engineering team to obtain clear and interference-free telemetry. Useful, constant, repeatable data. Just what a team needs in a phase where every minute of filming counts as gold. The difference between a team that understands its operating window before the Bahrain GP and another that is still looking for basic adjustments. And it must be said clearly, the day was not perfect for McLaren. A fuel system problem limited the number of laps available to Piastri. But even with that barrier, his work on the track left several engineers surprised. While others were still talking about understanding the new car, he was already listing points for improvement in longitudinal dynamics, front axle sensitivity, and calibration of the hybrid system. That's the kind of input that separates a fast driver from a valuable one. Because when Formula One changes its rules, it also changes what it means to be competitive. It's not just about who crosses the line first in preseason, but who understands their tool first. And in that aspect, Oscar Piastri not only fulfilled, he stood out. The paddock noticed it. Analysts highlighted this. And in Woking, more than one began to look at him not only as McLaren's second driver, but as one of its most promising technical voices for this new era. Oscar Piastri did not need a record lap to set off alarms in the paddock. What generated astonishment in Barcelona was something more difficult to detect with the naked eye, but much more valuable: his way of making the car work. What started as a simple day of testing ended up becoming a masterclass in how a young driver can make a difference, not with bang, but with surgical precision. The words most repeated by analysts reviewing the shakedown data were not speed, fast lap, or simulated pole. They were others: consistency, activation, reading. Internal reports and observations on the track revealed an unusual performance in long runs, where the car's behavior tends to fluctuate due to tire degradation, thermal variation, or changing balance due to the evolution of the layout. In this context, the MCL40, driven by Piastri, showed stability that did not match that of other cars on the track. Piastri demonstrated remarkable mastery over one of the most complex tasks in today's F1, keeping the car within its optimal operating window lap after lap. It is not about going to the limit, but about maintaining the technical balance of the car, avoiding overheating of tires, and controlling the energy consumption of the electrical part of the engine. This is key, especially with the new hybrid maps, which require active management in each sector, not only to extract time, but to keep the system within its load and recovery limits. The most striking thing was the precision in his corner entries and exits. In the filtered telemetry data that circulated through specialized forums, clear differences could be observed compared to previous simulations. Piastri's lines were cleaner and less aggressive, but not because of a lack of speed, but because of his ability to keep the car within its aerodynamic comfort zone. This, in a car that has lost power compared to its predecessor, is essential. Every unnecessary correction in the steering wheel or every slight slip in traction can translate into a general imbalance. This type of precise driving without exaggerated gestures, but effective, has a direct effect on the work of engineers. It allows you to obtain a clear reading of the car without the noise that generates a more aggressive or messy style. Technicians call it clean feedback, and it is exactly what is most valued in the first days of filming. Since Woking, the internal reactions were immediate. In the post-session meetings, several engineers agreed that the data generated by Piastri allowed the adjustment variations applied in the MCL40 to be compared more effectively. And that point is critical. Because when you have a new car, every small change, a modification to the rake, a suspension adjustment, or a balance of brake distribution, needs to be evaluated precisely. And that is only possible if the pilot offers a constant parameter, without ups and downs that distort the measurement. Furthermore, the fact that Piastri did all this without seeking prominence, without seeking a favorable timetable, but simply focusing on building a solid technical base, was what had the most impact. Many even top-level drivers use these sessions to look for headlines with fast laps. Piastri, no. He chose to stay in the shadow of the stopwatch to shine in what really matters, helping the car evolve in the right direction. There is an interesting fact that reinforces all this. On one of the testing days, Oscar Piastri finished more than 2 seconds behind the best times set by Ferrari and Mercedes. However, inside the McLaren garage there was no concern. On the contrary, the team was satisfied because they knew that the simulations were irrelevant without an accurate reading of the car's behavior. And that day, the Australian pilot had offered just that: precision, consistency, and technical vision. What they really needed. And although it only completed 48 laps due to a fuel system failure, each lap was internally considered valuable. Instead of pushing for more aimless laps, Piastri focused on getting the most out of each stint. At the end of the day, he gave his engineers a structured list of observations, not only about what was failing, but how it was failing. Lack of support in mid-corner, difficulty controlling inertia in linked curves, and irregular behavior in energy recovery at low speed. The 2026 preseason has exposed all teams equally, but very few have known how to manage that exposure as effectively as McLaren. What began as just another test in Barcelona transformed into a surgical data collection session that made one thing clear: McLaren is not improvising. And Oscar Piastri is one of the most valuable assets the team has to build its season from the base, not from the starters. The MCL40 is not a finished car. It is a competitive prototype in evolution. Andrea Stella, team director, had already warned. This machine is an aggressive evolution of the 2024 champion car, the MCL39, but it also represents a profound reinterpretation of the aerodynamic concept that took McLaren to the top the previous year. In simple words, he has risked everything. Every structural component, from the spoilers to the suspension geometry, has been redesigned, with the intention of finding more room for long-term development. But like any ambitious redesign, it comes with technical uncertainties that can only be resolved with real information on the track. And that's where Oscar Piastri comes in. With just 3 days of testing, Piastri has gone from being the team's second driver to becoming the first interpretation filter of the MCL40. While Lando Norris has maintained his line focused on pure performance, seeking representative positions and times to have an early reference of the car's potential, Piastri has assumed a different, more technical, deeper role. Their approach has been to work from the inside of the car, validate correlations between the wind tunnel and the track, check simulations of aerodynamic flows in mid-corner, and test the integration of the new 50-50 hybrid system in variable load situations. The season hasn't officially started yet, but the signs are powerful. Piastri isn't just understanding the car, he's figuring it out. He is helping to build an internal narrative that can bring McLaren back to full prominence. Because when a driver is able to translate into words and data what the car wants to say, the team moves forward with more clarity, with less trial and error, with more direction. Leave your opinion in the comments what you think about all this.